Hello and welcome to the One People Show. Hello and welcome everyone to this week's One People Roundtable. Sorry, I'm laughing. We are now
already started, guys.
And we've already been chatting for quite some time before we decided to actually officially start.
We forgot to actually start the show. We started talking 15 minutes ago. Oops.
But you'll never know because it's not going public.
It's not going public, but we were talking about, no, never mind. I didn't say nothing. I said nothing.
Yeah, thank you for the reminder that we should actually officially sort of kick this thing off. So, now Dee and I have not had a chance to talk at all during the week, so I have no idea if anything's blown her away this week or not.
I got rabbit holes.
Sure.
Oh, I got rabbit holes.
You got rabbit holes?
Oh, I got several rabbit holes. Hold on.
Which one would you like to kick off with?
Well, I don't even know. Well, no, I do. Fuck, I don't think I've got it loaded up, though. I think it's the one page I don't have loaded up. Okay. In the chat room, Jeff, can you throw me the link to the article I put in 2 days ago about the Torah and the Talmud and the mermaids? We got to pull it out.
Oh, mermaid.
Because I called it. Look what's about to show up. I'm sorry. I just literally...
Did they make it into the King James though? That's where all the changes are, or have been.
Well, if you're talking Hebrew scriptures, the Hebrew scriptures come from the Torah, the Talmud. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you believe the timeline that they set out, i.e. they were written first, then the Bible came afterwards. So.
Okay, hang on.
Let's see if Jeff can pull it up for me.
There's some commentary, though, that the mermaids, or at least not the word mermaids, but that apparently men had sex with fish.
Yeah. Dolphins, not fish. Dolphins, or something of that nature.
And that they were half man and half fish, which technically would be a mermaid.
Technically would be a mermaid.
But that it's always been there. Hasn't it always, wasn't there some commentary about it's always been in the Talmud and the Torah? Because I'm confused.
Well, this is the thing, and this is what God I wish is the one time where I wish I actually read Hebrew to go back in and kind of do this. So I don't know if we've gotten the link yet. I can go look for it if I have to. So basically, this article I put in the Unfuckers room, and I will link it here with the show. It was written by a woman who is studying the Torah, or a person. I'm not sure if it's a man or a woman. I think it's a woman. Nothing to do with Mandela effect. Nothing at all. It is seriously a serious Bible or Torah Hebrew discussion. And she's reading a very boring part of Exodus, actually I think it was Leviticus. And she's saying really, really boring. But then they're talking about something to do with trade, or what offerings you could give unto God, and there's a whole list, gold, silver, fine woven threads, blah, 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 dolphin skins. And this person goes, whoa, wait a second. Dolphin skins. If the Israelites have been wandering the desert for 40 years, where the fuck would they get dolphin skins from? So she goes down this rabbit hole of trying to find, wait, what is this fucking word? And she starts going through all of the Torah scholars. So like over history, there have been obviously famous rabbis who've been the Torah scholars who decipher the ancient Hebrew and what it actually means. And comes up, and there's this whole thing. But then you get this crossover, this weird crossover thing into unicorns as well. Because one of the animals they talk about could be a dolphin, but it also sounds like it might be a narwhal with the big horn on its head. Then there's this story that basically Moses, when he was building the tabernacle for the holiest of holies, used an animal appeared, described as a unicorn. Basically, it a kosher animal that they could sacrifice, and it was used, the horn, the skins, whatever were used to build the holiest of holies, the tabernacle, and then it instantly went extinct. And apparently somewhere else in the Talmud, which is one of the other Hebrew holy books, there's some connection to unicorns and unicorns living underground, which I also found really fucking interesting. But then she goes back to this whole dolphin thing. And there's a scripture, or they don't call it a scripture, but for my lack of Hebrew understanding, the equivalent of a scripture in the Torah that basically says, oh God, I wish I had it. Is that it? Jeff's got it. Hold on, guys. I will find this and pull this up because I got to read this one. Here it is. This one. No, 1,000 messages just appeared on my wall. No, go away. Okay. So I'm going to read this one piece. Actually, here, I'll pull it up on the screen share. Give me 2 seconds here. Screen share. Okay. Can you guys see that, Lise? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so they go through this part here. Let me just find it. So here we go. So that's not all. And tracking down the dolphin brought me to another strange creature before the hunt was over. A friend pointed out to me that dolphins actually are mentioned explicitly in the Talmud. Dolphins are fruitful and multiply like human beings. Well, one of these famous rabbis said that dolphins are the creatures of the sea. That's all fine and well, but what gets really crazy is all the commentators. And she gives a list of various scholars saying, seem to follow a different manuscript that reads, dolphins are fruitful and multiply from human beings. And Rashi, this one biblical scholar or Talmud scholar, explains as follows: when human beings mate with them, they become pregnant. Then there are creatures in the sea which have half human form and half fish form, i.e., mermaids. Now, this is in the Talmud. The Talmud and the Torah. And like I said, this is someone talking about scholarly work, scholarly research. It has nothing to do with Mandela effect, anything else. This person just researching specific words that just didn't make sense in translation. So, this is one of those things. And you sit there and you go, where is this all going? And I can't help it, but that a couple of shows now, I have made the comment, when mermaids appear in the Bible, we got unicorns and dragons. Well, the dragons have always been there. But now there's, apparently someone has just posted, I didn't get a chance to look it up, satyrs and phoenixes are now also in the Bible, which I have not had a chance to look up yet. But I was joking, saying when mermaids show up in the Bible, seriously, boom, my head's going to just like go, well, mermaids, this discussion showing up in the Talmud and the Torah, those should be, by linear time history as they try to tell us, the precursor to the Hebrew scriptures of the Bible. So if all of a sudden this starts appearing, I'm sorry, I'm watching for it. Huh?
It's not your fault. You know that, don't you?
Hey, at least I didn't manifest Satan taking over the planet. Mermaids, relatively harmless. So anyways, yeah, for me,
somebody else is doing a really good job like that. What happened?
I think it was Mia who sent me that one too. Mia, thank you, because that was fucking awesome. The whole mermaids in ancient Hebrew religious writings, I have questions. I have big fucking questions. Yeah, gargoyles. Yes. Frankenstein. No. That's too dark. Fairies. That was the other one I said was fairies. So mermaids and fairies in the Bible. That's what we're looking for next.
The hobbits.
Hobbits. I don't know. They might eat everything. Smoke all my cigarettes. Fucking that's awesome. That's fucking awesome. Anyways, yeah, I had to talk about that one right off the hop. And I mean, Nate, unfuckers, the biblical shit, it's almost every day that there's a new word, there's a new phrase, there's a new something. There's even a new change in
Ordinary.
the Lord's Prayer. And
Another one.
Yes, there's a change within the Lord's Prayer. There's another change that's in there now towards the end of the Lord's Prayer. And I can't remember what it is now. Yeah, be the watcher of your thoughts. I'm manifesting mermaids and fairies. That's perfectly fine. Got to start small. Work our way up to the big stuff.
Well, in terms of 3D fuckery, we did have the yet another announcement of yet more trillions and trillions and trillions.
$6.5 trillion that the Pentagon
Somebody
cannot
has a
account.
seriously large hole in their pocket that all this shit just keeps, they just keep losing it. How do they just keep losing it? I don't understand. Aren't there people, isn't there an accountant? Isn't there a little bookkeeper?
I was doing research on it, Lisa. In 2003, there were new laws passed in the States that every government department had to undergo a full audit once a year to, legally. Like they had to go through a full audit to do all the accounting. The only department that has never, ever fulfilled it is the Pentagon, the Department of Defense. Not even once. So here you go. You talk about legal versus law. They passed a law saying they have to do it.
You lose a couple of trillion once, and then, all the evidence of that may well be hidden in the World Trade Center just happens to disappear the next day, and oops.
And the Pentagon, that area of the wing of the Pentagon that had all the records.
Then when was the next one? A couple of years ago? They did it again.
But yet, there's been a few of these all along, right? So, for example, there was in the Iraq War, the Pentagon couldn't account for something ridiculous. It was like $200 million or $200 billion maybe of equipment in the Iraq War that just went missing. Because they just left it there because it couldn't be bothered bringing, some of it was like they couldn't be bothered bringing it back to the States when they brought troops back, so they just abandoned the shit there. And you wonder what ISIS is running around in Toyotas for. Just saying. But in 2013, the Pentagon also, a report came out that the Pentagon had lost $8-point-something trillion. And now it's 2016, and they've lost $6.5 trillion. Lost, can't account for it. No, you guarantee that maybe a couple of billion of it is lost, put in pockets somewhere, but all the rest of it is black ops. You guarantee it went to Israel, it went to Saudi Arabia, it went to all the black ops places. ISIS is a very expensive venture to run. These guys go through Toyotas real fucking fast, even if they do get a group discount. Sorry.
But what I don't get is where is the uproar? I'm sorry, but if my kid loses $5, it's like, hang on, I'm holding you accountable. If they lose it again,
they don't get to have $5 no
more.
There's
time out. There's some serious time out.
Yeah.
If they lose it again, they don't get to handle the money.
No.
That's it. 3 strikes and you're out. I mean, where is the, and everyone just goes, oh, moving right along, nothing to see here.
There is nothing, and I've verified this, okay? I've verified the report. This is not like, alternative media making something up. The 6.5 trillion went missing. Oh my God, next 9/11 is about to happen. No, the report is there. You can go yourself and read the fucking report from the Pentagon. $6.5 trillion they cannot account for. They have no receipts for. They have no vouchers for. $6.5 trillion. So this isn't no mainstream coverage, almost none. When you Google search it under news, there's almost no mainstream coverage on it. Yet it's there, but it's being hidden. So the people aren't in uproar because they don't know about it. No one's talking. Ain't no one talking.
Too busy chasing Pokemon?
They're playing fucking Pokemon Go and watching the Olympics. Oh, isn't that just so convenient that they would release that information just a couple of days before the Olympics? Everyone's distracted.
Actually, as far as the Olympics go, normally it's everywhere, including all over social media. Now, last Olympics, there was so much build-up about what was going to go down at those Olympics. You know, the terror attacks.
There's going to be a nuclear bomb. Yep.
It was building up for months and months and months. The opening ceremony was scrutinized. It was all over social media. I've not seen a thing. I have not seen one prophecy, prediction, accusation, anything about what's going to go down at these Olympics. I've not seen one. I haven't even seen the opening ceremony. Not a clip from the opening ceremony. I've seen Jack, and there's been none of this dissecting the opening ceremony for all of its satanic ritual.
Not that I've seen.
Nothing. Like, it's almost creepy by its
conspicuous in its absence.
Exactly. It's weird, a little bit weird. There's no talk about what's going to go down at the closing ceremony. Like, it's like the whole alternative media conspiracy world just is on a gag order for the Olympics. It's kind of a little bit surprising.
And I said that I expect something to go down. Not in this like UK Olympics type nuclear terrorist attack. Something. I do expect some things to go down, but I suspect that a lot of it's going to be stuff outside the Olympics, i.e. get the world distracted. You got video game and you got the Olympics. This is where we're seeing a lot of shit going down right now. Oh, like Hillary fucking breaking down? 2 more deaths?
We'll just sit here and do this for the next week.
I mean, yeah. I mean, 2 more deaths? 1 or 2 more deaths directly attributed, there goes a big truck, directly attributed to the Clintons with Bill's leaked medical records and Hillary's leaked medical records type stuff, and now they're attributing that too.
Knowing the Clintons has got to be the leading cause of death in America right now.
I said,
being associated with you in any way.
Well, I just joked. I said, maybe the FBI could bring her up on charges of littering. That she just keeps leaving bodies all over the place. There's just bodies thrown out everywhere. So maybe they could charge her with littering. And, I don't know. Littering people, I don't know. Maybe they just say that that's just recycling because it's biodegradable. I don't know. Seriously. Oh, but the whole Hillary Clinton shit. And you've got Trump, again, is doing flip-flops on topics left, right, and center all over the place. There was a meme that went by, and Nick and I just about wet ourselves. We laughed so hard. It was like, basically it was like, to all you Americans out there who are, in your election, just so you know, the rest of the world is not viewing this as an election, but as an IQ test, and you're miserably failing. And it's just like, it's true. Like, I mean, outside of America, it is a joke. I mean, the Maltese people are ultra conservative, like really, really conservative. And sorry, I got a big truck going down the street. Just give me a second. He'll be gone.
Yes, you do.
Okay, he's gone. Yeah, the Maltese people are very, very conservative. And even them, they're like, oh, tell us, dear Hillary and Trump, oh, like, and laughing. And laughing. It's just.
I know. I feel for my intelligent American friends. I really do. because the rest of the world is looking at you guys and just shaking their head and going, how did it get this far? How did you let it get this far? I mean, not that anybody believes for a second that, you know, voting is a legitimate thing, or, you know, that they actually represent anything other than a fucking circus, exactly. But you've got to at least have the premise, the facade of legitimacy.
Something.
And that has so gone with these two. The facade is gone even. You can't sell this as legitimate.
No. Well, we want to
everybody outside of the United States, you're going, what?
This is about as transparent. This election in the States is about as transparent as you can fucking get. You can't get any more transparent than this.
Yeah, somebody's bumper sticker said, just fuck it, nuke me, I'm out of here. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is, let's just, you know, for a second, assume that they are actually playing that game of trying to wake us up by throwing things in our face so blatantly. It's like, guys, what's it going to take? Wake the fuck up. How bad do we have to be? This is part of that. It's like, here, we're going to give you these two to choose from.
Here's your two clowns. They'll vote.
No. It's very,
and it's kind of playing out everywhere. Like, I mean, the insanity everywhere in the UK, this whole Theresa May just being put into power by Queen Elizabeth. You know, the monarchy that's just fake, you know, just a figurehead monarchy. I mean, that was perfect because, like I said, when I did a news special on that back when it happened, it was just like, that tells you what power the monarchy still has. They just named your new ruler. You didn't even get to vote. And she's making, you can say, oh, there's going to be an election coming up. That's great that there could be an election coming up at some point in time and the people will have democratic, you know, choices to vote for. But this woman is making hardcore decisions for the country that are non-back-outable. So really, it's a facade. It is a complete and utter facade. What's going on in France? What's going on in Turkey? Oh my God. All these places. The facade is just crumbling. Even in Australia. Turnbull and the whole vaccine shit. And then his wife, and him, his wife works for, and he's got fucking shares in a vaccine manufacturing company. And he's, you know, passing laws to make vaccines mandatory in Australia. Gee, I wonder why. It's right there. Just people just have to put down the Pokemon Go. Step away from the Olympics. Oh, okay. Here's the other thing I want to talk about. I don't know if you saw this, but what happened in Milwaukee. Okay, riots, everything. There's another police shooting. Police shot someone. I don't know. I've heard armed. I've heard unarmed. I've heard all these different things. I did not follow this whatsoever. But watching it come by my newsfeed, people rioted. Like apparently one of the precincts in Milwaukee police station had to barricade themselves in for their own safety. The people went fucking nuts. They burned cars. They burned buildings, the whole bit. They've brought in the military, purportedly to back up the police. Well, that's called martial law. And this is no, they're deliberately driving Americans to riot. Because if they can get the people to riot, they can bring in the military and instate martial law. And this goes back to the election thing.
I don't know how long.
The whole election thing. Lisa, again, this is happening right before the elections. Is this that little move that we've talked about in the past? Of Obama's going to pass a executive order that he gets to remain as president because it's all under martial law. Therefore, we can't have elections right now because it would be too dangerous for the public to go out and vote. So he'll just remain as president until the emergency is over?
You're never at war. America, whether you want to call it a war on drugs or the war on cancer that started in the 40s, or the war on terror. Or whatever you. There's, as long as you can. It's why it's never called anything else but a war on. It's because that way it comes under the banner of, war.
Yep.
And as long as you're under a state of war, martial law can be imposed. And all they need is an excuse. We've been talking about this for 2 years.
Yeah.
Then they've been provoking the American people and poking the bear every opportunity and from every angle, trying to get them to revolt, trying to get them to fight back. The false flags, the talk about taking off your guns because they know that that'll roll you guys up.
And every time they tell everyone they're going to take away the guns, gun sales go through the roof, ammo sales go through the roof. Oh, who controls the ammunition in the gun companies? Really? So, I mean, I know you guys listening know that it's just a ploy to get you to fight back. And yet at the same time, I don't see it as all that avoidable, because the pressure is going to continue and continue and continue and continue until it is fight back or just fucking lay down and play dead. Yep.
So I don't know, unless
oh, hold on. The GOP statement that they can pick their own presidential candidate in the event of death, declination, or incapacitation. Now, again, I just said to Nick last night, I said, this whole thing with Hillary, are they going to use Bill as either the sympathy card, i.e. Bill will suddenly die just before the elections so that they will play the sympathy card for Hillary. Oh, poor Hillary, Bill's died, but look, she's standing strong and still running for president type thing. Or, again, what happens if Hillary dies? Just right before the election. And the elections have to be postponed. Or what?
Did I freeze or did you?
No, I don't see either one of us is frozen.
You froze for me and you were sitting there like, so I have no idea what you just said.
Danny is not manifesting again. I do not consent. I'm merely commenting on what I see could be what plays out, i.e. that either A, Bill Clinton dies and Hillary Clinton uses that. It's used as a sympathy vote for her just before the election, or vice versa. She dies and it turns everything in an uproar, and then all of a sudden they have to delay the elections.
Well, okay, a couple of things on Bill that I've noticed. Okay, one, he seriously does not look good, for starters, right? The man does not look like the same Bill even 6 months ago.
Nope.
Not looking good. At the convention, watching him play with balloons was looking like a kid.
Yeah.
Without insulting anybody with special needs, he looked like a special needs child.
Yep.
Playing with balloons. And he was in this childlike state of joy and bliss with his balloons. It was very, very odd. And I don't know if it was at the same event or not, but there was a point where, I don't know if you saw this clip, Hillary turned around and Bill went in for a kiss and she just totally
I didn't see that one.
And turned around and kissed Obama. It was the weirdest.
What?
I mean, there's no way you can tell your husband's coming in for a kiss. He's coming in for a kiss. It's right there. And she just kisses Obama. It was cold.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't know where herself has been. Exactly.
Actually, I think it was
apparently Monica Lewinsky is telling everyone to vote for Hillary. Didn't read the article. The headline came by on my newsfeed. I just about peed my pants. It was so fucking funny. Then again, she might be afraid for her life, right? Because everyone else associated with the Clintons is dropping dead. She's probably got some pretty good dirt on both of them. So, yeah, vote for Hillary. Vote for Hillary. Yeah, vote for Hillary.
What is that poor girl doing these days?
I don't want to know.
She couldn't get a job anywhere, surely, after all of that rubbish. I actually feel sorry for it too. I do. But that's a whole other story.
I don't feel sorry for her. Anyone who fucks the married president of the United States in the Oval Office, really? You don't think she's trying to get a leg up? No pun intended. Seriously?
She was a political groupie.
I know. Sorry. I don't have sympathy for that shit. That's just like, seriously.
Okay, I'm not repeating some of the stuff that's getting said in the chat room.
Yeah.
The
chat room's going off. They're having a laugh. Woo-hoo. Yeah. That's all I have to say about that. Okay. Shall I jump into the next rabbit hole? Because this one's fucking good.
Okay. Is this Hollow Earth, by any chance?
No. Oh, I got that one too. I've got a couple of things loaded up on that. No, I want to talk about the prime meridian being moved.
But didn't we talk about that the other week, like before?
Okay, but it's really, really interesting. Some of the shit that was said in the article, which is on space.com, released by NASA, the reasons why they've moved it, et cetera, et cetera. What comes out right afterwards is an article in the magazine Popular Mechanics. Now, if you don't know, Popular Mechanics is a propaganda rag. That is all it is. They do nothing but spread government propaganda. That's it. So there's an article about Australia having to redo all their GPS because Australia has moved 5 feet. And I'll put the links to both articles both of these articles into the article with this video.
They didn't. Hang on, it didn't move like 5 feet overnight or anything.
No, exactly.
It's just a rather long period of time, but they've never adjusted the GPS to account for it. So now it's gone 5 feet out of the way that they need to make a big adjustment.
No, so first, let me call bullshit on the entire thing about how the GPS has not been moved. Planes land themselves via GPS, and if the runway was 5 foot over, you'd have a whole shite load of plane crashes in Australia, all over the world. You'd have, ships running aground. You would have all the shit. 5 feet is all it takes to make a real radical mess. So as soon as they start saying things like, well, we had to shift the GPS because it doesn't line up anymore, you go, bullshit. There's something else on the agenda.
I agree.
Longitude and latitude lines, and the prime meridian shifting 30 meters. Now we're starting to look at things like what I've talked about is the tilt of the planet is changing, and they've got to come up with some explanation. Or we'll go the other way. We're talking about the what the fuck effect, where continents are moving. Things aren't where they're supposed to be anymore. Right? Instead of 7 kilometers between Tarifa and Tangier, it's now 32 kilometers between Tarifa and Tangier. That is a physical change. If that is a physical change that we're talking about, pardon me, then yeah, they have to fix some shit on their maps. Because all of a sudden people are noticing massive changes on the maps. So if people are noticing massive changes on the maps, is this the spin doctoring? Is this how they're spinning it? Oh, it's continental drift. Yeah. Australia moved 5 feet. No. Yes, that does happen. The whole expanding planet idea is a theory that I've looked at for years, that the planet is expanding, and as it expands, continental obvious drift happens as the planet expands. But there's so much more in these articles that is not being said. And when popular mechanics can't even tie their excuses up to what NASA's is, like they're giving a completely different excuse for moving the longitude and latitude lines in Australia. Wait, can't you guys at least get your story straight? Come up at least with the same lies to tell the public? Or you just think that we're not smart enough to cross-reference? I don't know.
Does this tie into Hollow Earth then?
Hollow Earth. Really, really interesting. So, for those of you who are new and just waking up, there is a theory that has been going around for a long time that the Earth is hollow. That there is a whole society that lives inside the planet, and some call it the Agarthans that live inside the planet. You have the theories that they're the two main there's multiple openings from outside to the inside of the hollow Earth. One's in the Himalayas, there's one supposed to be in the Rocky Mountains. And the North and South Pole supposed to be the big, huge holes. We have the stories of Admiral Byrd in his flight over Antarctica, that he flew, and without realizing it, that he ended up in a new land that
was the Arctic, not the Antarctic, wasn't it?
No, the Antarctic as well. He flew over that mountain, and then he saw green lands. He saw trees and tropical vegetation. Apparently, I inhaled my coffee. Just have to give me a second. I'm going to have a quick drink. One should not drink coffee and talk at the same time, apparently.
Well, actually, there's okay. Quite a few things. We've got the book that everyone sort of discovered a little while back called World Beyond the Poles.
Yes, which I haven't had a chance to read yet.
We've got another book that were kind of not written by the same person, but came out around the same time, and I have uploaded it to my website under the download section if you want to read it, called The Enlightenment of the World. Both of them are pretty much flat earth books, right? We've got so in the World Beyond the Poles, the premise is, I could see if I could try and find the image actually. The premise is that the reason for curvature, the reason we see curvature is purely the way our lenses of our eyes work. They are designed to create curvature. Lenses on telescopes, binoculars, and everything else are based on the lenses of our eyes. They do the same thing. And that is what gives the whole universe this sense of curvature. So the premise in this book is that we have what we call the terrestrial realm, which is this Earth, this flat plane that we live on, is what he says. Above that is another plane, which we call the celestial plane, but it's exactly the same as the terrestrial plane, and up is relative, so we look up, they look up, and in between is what we see as the sky, the atmosphere, the where the stars and all of that is. And that it's essentially two infinite planes. Everything else is in between. There's actually a movie called Upside Down. You can probably easily watch it online or download it, which is based on this premise that there are two worlds. One is the down below is what they call it, and then you've got the upper world, and they do operate like this, and it's a love story, a guy and a girl accidentally meet, she's hanging this way and he's hanging that way. And the upper world in this film is for the elite. It's the rich, it's the wealthy, it's the healthy. They've got the everything. Everybody in here gets the dregs. These are the workers, right? Something in that film. But it totally matches this cosmology that's in these books. We've also got, just to throw a whole bunch of things into the mix that I think have got some truth in them, right? There's like elements of truth in all this stuff. Interstellar. All right, so at the end of Interstellar, somehow she kind of bends time and space and creates this bubble, right? The movie was called Upside Down, I'm pretty sure. And then you've got Interstellar, right, where she creates this almost like a tube situation at the end of the film,
yeah,
which is this bubble that houses everything until they find a new planet to go to. Similar. So then you've got Yellow Rose for Texas concept as well, right? Where it's this artificial virtual reality. It's on poles, and it's, you know, I think, but I could be wrong, but just based on the images from NASA or from the Sol cameras that she's used, it does look like the flat Earth kind of snow globe kind of thing. What else have we got? We've got this latest tree. We've got Hollow Earth. Okay. There's another concept with Hollow Earth, which is that there are multiple Earths. They're inside each other.
Like the Russian dolls,
right?
Russian stacking dolls.
So it's not just a planet with, you know, a cavernous area inside the crust. It's that the Earth is actually like skin, and then there's another one inside, and another one inside, and another one inside. And that these also represent different dimensions. There's also a documentary which I watched last night, I think, which I'll put the link in for you if I can. Yeah, Onion Earth.
Onion Earth. Exactly. There's been a lot of controversy around this documentary. I don't know the name of it because it was put on YouTube under a different title, obviously. But they spoke to a bunch of scientists and physicists and cosmologists and all. And the controversy is, after the film came out, they've all backtracked and said that they were taken out of context and they didn't know what the premise was and all of that. Which the guys who made the film have been able to disprove, because they've got them on camera reading and signing their release forms. And, you know, like the woman who was the captain in one of the Star Trek series, you know, there was a woman, Janeway something. Yeah, she was the narrator. She narrated this entire thing and then later claimed she didn't understand it, right? But she's on camera talking about the fact that she had to read it over and over again, to really get it and understand it and, you know, convey what she was. So there's a lot of this show, because now you really got me intrigued.
They're backtracking because they all said the same thing ultimately, which is they went against the Copernicus, totally against Copernicus model, and said everything that they're saying. And they even talked about how difficult it is to get anyone to listen to you, how to get yourself published, how to get any, because if you are saying anything against the Copernican model, you're out. But everything that they've measured, everything is showing that Earth is actually at the center of the universe, and that they've still got a spherical model, but it's a spherical model for the universe. That it's a big ball with Earth smack bang in the center. Everything radiates out in there, and that the Big Bang essentially started
with
here and it's radiating out. And all of the other dimensions, if there are other planets and life, and it all comes from here. So
Interesting.
it completely, yeah. The earthers are not real happy about this based on the comments that I've seen, because it still includes some kind of spherical.
Sphere. Oh my God, there's a sphere. Yeah, okay.
But to me, there's so many points in there that they should be using as pro their argument, is what I saw. But I will post it in when we do the archive. I'll include the link to it.
Okay, but here's the thing. What if we just talked about the onion earth, for lack of a better word, earth, and there's this, and there's this, and this, and this, and this, and there's the universe. What if the universe is this entire stacking Russian dolls of earths? And that's kind of,
well,
the hollow earth is that, oh, the idea of the hollow earth passes through between all of them, and the elevator shaft that Lily used to always talk about between the different dimensions.
Well, this is what I was going to get to, was if hollow earth, this what we're calling the onion earth, the expanding earth, and also this whole idea of two earths or splitting.
Yeah.
It could be, what if it is that another layer is manifesting, right? The next layer is being built right now. And that what we're doing is...
Oh, that's kind of interesting, Lise. Oh, that's...
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Just layer, and then it built another layer, and then it built another layer, and then it built another layer, and now we're building a new layer. And that's what we're doing. We're feeding and building this new layer.
The center of the universe. So, to coin a phrase, what if we talk about...
I think I need a cigarette now.
You roll a cigarette. Well, I'm going to have to try and speak this out. We always talk about our other consciousness, our greater consciousness, our higher consciousness, our true selves. That this being just an avatar, just like a body that we drive around in this reality, is just a representation of. So what if in this expanding universe, expanding planet, at the center is the us. And as it expands out, that's the fractals of us. There's something interesting in this.
Yeah, I've not seen the chat room for ages, so hang on.
Yeah. Well, here, while you're doing that, I want to go back to this whole hollow earth thing, because for a lot of people who have been following the New Age stuff for a while, and you've heard about Agarthans, and you've heard about Admiral Byrd's trip over the poles, and how when he went over the mountain in Antarctica, he all of a sudden came across this beautiful, lush green land, tropical, with animals and people, very tall people, etc., etc. Someone posted something in Unfuckers this week. And it just set me on a thing. I was like, oh, really? I need to look into this. So I'm gonna pull up the screen share. I don't know what page I've got open, but I'm pretty sure I have it open. Okay, so give me a second here, guys. No, don't do that. Just give me a second. I've got to try and find the one. So this is the article that was found, right? And it's basically the Hollow Earth Monument. And it's in the States somewhere. It is in... The Hollow Earth Monument is the oldest public memorial in the U.S. It marks the gravesite of Captain John Cleves Symes, hero of the War of 1812, who later announced that the Earth was hollow with giant holes at the north and south poles. And that is the monument. So you can see the picture here, which is the circle with the big donut hole right through it. And it's the monument. So I went looking because I had to see. This is something I've never come across before. And I mean, I jump down rabbit holes quite regularly. So bear with me a second. I'm having an issue because this is driving me nuts. Can I move you out of the way? Okay. move you over here for the moment. Okay, so I went and looked him up. So this is, you've got your picture of him here. Basically, he, with a few other people that they ended up falling out and having an argument, etc., he proposed this whole theory about hollow earth. And there's a whole, he's got a whole following, apparently. Even to this day, apparently, there is a following of people who follow all of his work. What came up, though, is the fact that, of course, his work wasn't original. That was what the claims were in newer, more modern, early 1900s. When his work would get brought up, they'd be like, but it's not original work. He's taking this from people who came before him. So I thought, okay, well, let's follow this down. And I come up with this guy. This guy's name is Edmund Halley. Note the name. 1656 to 1742, was an English astronomer, geophysicist, mathematician, meteorologist, and physicist. And this guy was quite famous for lots of different things that he did in astronomy, at calculating different things, etc., etc. Well, he also proposed that the Earth was hollow. And it's not really much said on, obviously, on Wikipedia. It doesn't really get into it very much. But this guy was explored everywhere. He's another one of these explorer types who went all over the place. He did star maps. He made it all, charted all these different things, etc., etc. Well, one of the things that this guy charted, hold on, just give me a second. Nope, got to pull it up here. He charted, and I can't find, I should have bloody well highlighted this part. Edmund Halley. He is the guy who charted Halley's Comet. And charted its flight path, worked out exactly how long it would be every single time it would come through Earth's orbit. What I found really, really interesting, though, Lisa, the U.S. has a scientific outpost in Antarctica, pardon me, called Halley Station, which is named after him. So, going back to the premise of the hollow Earth, with the openings in Antarctica and Arctica and the Arctic, and going back to the premise of that, this guy, he was an astronomer, he did all these things. Why would the U.S. have a scientific station in Antarctica named after Halley? None of his work really had to do with Antarctica at all.
I can't remember which book it is.
Sorry?
I can't remember which book it is of the two that I mentioned, but one of them talks about the US having a station that's something like 1,200 miles beyond the point, classed as the South Pole. And I think, was it Russia, also has one beyond. And that's what makes me laugh about all of this, Russia versus US shit. They're holding hands in so many places, in so many ways, and yet mainstream media would have you believe the Cold War is, back in full swing. Yeah, but as far as the timetable for Halley's Comet, that's changed. That's one of those MEs. I mean, we were all, I know when I was a kid, I was told, once in a lifetime.
now apparently
25 years, 28 years, something.
It's just ridiculous. Now it's like the tail of Halley's Comet passes by Earth like every 16 years or something ridiculous like that. Which is like...
Or it's tail. At least its tail goes by every...
I don't know.
Yearly. That year. You see the tail every year now?
Something ridiculous like that. Like, it's just... No. All I know is that we read it, and I remember reading it to Lisa and going, yeah, no. This is not right. Hold on, I'm just trying to find one last thing here.
I'll be right back. Just need to get some more water.
Okay. So this is just the whole thing. I'm trying to find the one piece here. And isn't that just crazy? It's like, I have a little highlighter that I usually highlight passages on web pages. And the last time I rebooted my computer, everything all screwed up, and my highlighter doesn't work now. So I didn't get to highlight the pieces I wanted to show you guys. What was interesting is this guy, Haley, hypothesized that the entry into inner Earth is so gradual that you wouldn't even know you were going into the planet. That's how gradual it was. Which always comes back to this whole Antarctica shit, Greenland, all the stuff that we've been talking about, and Lisa and I have been talking about Antarctica for frickin' years now. About the secrecy around it. Admiral Byrd's flights. Again, there's something there. And when I look at like the whole concept of kind of the onion earth, as we've now named it the onion earth. And if there is the universe, and it just goes like this, in, with the different layers, if you will, all the way down to a central point, all the way down to a central point, with a big giant shaft, perhaps, big hole that links them all together. And again, I come back, I always talk about this, that one comment, the very first time we had Lily Earth on the show, the first interview, she talked about the astral realms. And she talked about the tilt of the planet, that when we were at that 90-degree upright, that everything connected, almost like an elevator shaft, to be able to connect between all the planets. And that all of a sudden, it's disconnected. When the Earth's tilted and changed, it disconnected. Well, we know the tilt of the planet's changing again, don't we? We know the tilt of the planet is changing again. Is it relining up? I don't know. I'm telling you, I has questions. I has lots and lots of questions.
Oh, there's all these messages.
It's turtles all the way down. Yeah. One turtle on top of the back of another turtle on top of another turtle. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the chat room's gone off. I'm so far behind I can't even.
No, I think it's the other way around. I think that they're trying to deny that it's tilting.
No, yeah, they're denying that the lies that they've been, like the ridiculous statements that have come out of NASA and those agencies in the last year to explain the fact of why the fucking stars are no longer in the right place. Insane. Yeah, all the stars changed their trajectory orbits, not us. No, we've just stayed right where we are. No, it's all the stars that just changed. Yeah. Interestingly enough, we have an interesting set of stars every evening that's right in front of our balcony, and it's a perfect triangle. So you notice that there's a lot of street lights around, so we don't get a really good, like not like at Nimbin where we get the black, so you can really see the stars. But there's these three stars. And the one thing I've said to Nick, isn't it interesting how the triangle keeps changing shape over the last 3 weeks? Over the last 3 weeks, it's gone from being a triangle like this to being a triangle like this to being a triangle like this. And last night, it was like a triangle like this with a really tall star up here and then two down here. It's like, well, I'm pretty sure that stars aren't supposed to move that way. I could be totally wrong. Astronomy is not, you know.
Like the moon supposed to move the way it does?
Yeah, well, the moon's not supposed to, no, the sun's not supposed to rise in the northeast either. Go figure. And yet I have proof the sun is currently rising in the northeast. So.
There's been a couple of videos. One came out from the Far Side Institute. I don't know if you saw that.
Which one?
The Far Side
video, you know, I haven't seen anything, so.
No, that's true. Okay, so they have been doing an experiment on looking into the month of August. And they had 3 or 4 different remote viewers looking into August, and they all saw something cataclysmic. The Far Side Institute, to my knowledge, doesn't have a great track record for accuracy. I could be wrong. And it's kind of like Cliff High's Webbot, you know, in the sense of what he sees and what they seem to see is like these huge, like extreme worst case scenarios. And what ends up actually happening is something far less,
far more subtle
than what is projected. That's been what I've seen. I mean, people follow it more closely and can probably have a different opinion, but that's kind of my take on it. But apparently there's been, I think, another video put out by a different group. I couldn't be sure.
Well, I do remember, like 6 months ago, Lise, you and I were talking. There was all this shit coming up, and it was all talking about August. And I thought about it last night. I was like, oh, well, middle of August. Let the fuckery begin. Nothing. I mean,
I think I'm just going to get a t-shirt that says, I survived the end of the world, and then I'm just going to be able to draw lines on it and just mark them off. Wait.
Yeah, I like it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly. Oh, what was I going to say though? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Still kind of on this subject, right? The No Forests, Big Trees video, right? So obviously this has been a huge thing on the internet over the last few weeks. There's been loads of articles written about it, loads of response videos done. People being very, very affected by it, sad, angry, all kinds of things. I was reminded that Alex Collier, apparently back in the 90s, said that life used to be silicon-based. Now, of course, the whole New Age movement has talked about us becoming crystalline or whatever, which also be silicon-based. Now, do you remember my own personal rabbit hole about carbon a year ago?
Yep.
About a year ago.
Yep.
Right? I went on my carbon thing, right? And that carbon is the 666, the number of the beast, the number of man. 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons, whatever it is, makes up carbon and the number of man. I think there's a lot of truth in that video. I don't buy it that everything, like mountains and everything, are old trees. But I think there's definitely something in it. And was Michael Monk all about silicon? Well, it's funny you mentioned him, Jeff, because he came up into my mind like 10 minutes ago when we were talking about something else. Was he really?
We will all be aluminum-based if they keep spraying us and injecting us. Yeah, we're all going to be aluminum-based.
And we'll bleed mercury. Yeah, and you wouldn't have seen that either. There was another video. This is all connected, right? All connected. There's another video I shared. It's a 4-part silent series, just kind of using Google Earth and going all over the place, called... See, I need my pen so I can write notes, so I remember to put the links in.
I'm sorry I'm not there to get your pen and your notepad.
What was it called? Ruins of the Old Earth or something like that. And there's some seriously interesting, funky shit on the surface of this planet. Like,
Nick has got one that he found. It's in the very southern edge of Morocco, right near the coast of North Africa, down the west coast, right where you get to the Western Sahara. There is something that Nick found, and it was the same thing. He was going on Google Earth and looking around and zooming in and looking, And we found something that is this big, huge freaking circle. And there's nothing around it. Nothing. And you can't tell, because of Google Earth being what it's like, you can't tell if it's sunk in or if it's built up. But you can't get the definition of as to what it actually is. But you can clearly see this massive circle. And it's right on the edge of the Sahara. And Nick keeps going back to it. Once every few months, he'll be looking for something, and he'll go back and go, fuck, that really intrigues me. One of these days, I got to go down there and just go see what it is.
And see, okay, so let's just play with this idea for a second. If we did have these huge silica trees, there's more coal. More coal, and what about all these crystals? Where did all the crystals come from? What if the crystals, say all these huge trees, and the big flood came, Noah's flood, whatever, the cataclysm that everybody seems to agree actually happened at some point.
Yeah.
And that's where all the crystals have come from, is all of these huge trees. I mean, we've got these huge caverns and caves full of crystal.
Yeah. There are so many geological anomalies on this planet. So many things that if you could gather all the local little people and little villages all over the planet together to tell you about what they have in their village, what they have in their town, all over the planet, there's these weird anomalies. There's bizarre stones that just strange shapes that just stick up. There are holes. Strange holes. We've got one here in Gozo that's just outside of Duera, and there's like a little bay of water, and then there's a hole, and it's like a perfect circular hole, and it goes like 90 meters straight down into the ocean floor at that area. And what caused this giant hole to form? It's a perfect circular hole, like someone took a drill bit and went zoom, straight down, like a borehole that you do when you're mining. So many interesting geological things all over the planet.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we can write everything off as a psyop and a distraction.
Yeah.
But at the same time, now I counter that with we're in a time of transparency, and we're in a time of truth being revealed. We're in the time of the unveiling. So at what point do we stop being completely cynical and go, okay, we're getting what we asked for at some point? I mean, that's been my thing for 2 years now.
Well, this was my comment to everyone, because they're talking about the trees in the mountains, that video, is a lot of people seemingly have gone right off the end with it, and they've gone, it's consumed them emotionally. From either spectrum, right? Either against or for, it's become the next flat earth. Do you know what I mean? Like this huge thing. And with all this stuff I'll just keep saying to people is just balance. Take the information in, store it away. And the next piece will make itself transparent, and we'll see how the puzzle pieces fit together. But we've got to beware that we don't get so sidetracked that it becomes the be-all, end-all, and it becomes one of those things. One theory becomes the theory that you hold as a true belief and judge every other theory by. And that's what we're seeing happening. There needs to be that place of just where you can hold the information in neutrality and just go, okay, this is another piece. This is really, really fucking interesting. Really, really fucking interesting. It doesn't mean it's the only piece. It doesn't mean it's the be-all, end-all piece. And we have to stay in that place of being prepared for the next piece that comes out.
I feel like what we're being given is tiny little snippets of a story.
Mm-hmm.
Flat Earth, Mandela, silicon trees,
Hollow Earth, fucking onion
Earth. The other bit about being the center of the universe.
Yeah.
They're all tiny little pieces of a bigger story. And it is kind of good that we do have these people that get a little bit fanatical about one piece, and because what they end up doing is they go and research the shit out of it.
Absolutely.
And if they do it well and they do it properly, it leads to bigger and bigger pieces.
Yep. And
I don't know, I feel like we're in this frustrating place of whether we're writing the story or whether we're discovering the story, who knows, but we're in it right now, so it's kind of frustrating. I mean, we just want to get to the last page, but
it's not fair because I always read the last page first. In every book I've ever read, I read the last page first, and now, God damn it, I can't do it this time. It's pissing me off.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'd never do that.
Read the last page always.
Oh, that would never occur to me.
Even if it's only a paragraph, doesn't matter. You got to read that last page.
Oh, wow, that's weird. Sorry, I'd never do that. Let's spoil my fun.
But there's a whole bunch of people. These guys actually understand me. Everyone in the chat room goes, I do that too. There you go. See, I'm not the only one. Eat dessert first.
Well, okay, that'll do. Oh, trucks.
Yes, guys.
But I'm just not somebody who can get that obsessed about one particular piece. I'm a big picture person, so I stand back and sort of try and see how they all fit in together. But I do love the fact that there are people who take one of these pieces and they fucking run with it.
Absolutely.
It does lead to that piece evolving, hopefully, into something bigger. I love the questions that have and the stuff that's come out of the flat Earth. That doesn't mean I believe we're on a flat plane with a dome. I actually don't buy into this dome thing at the moment. But I love the questions that have come out of it. I love the discussions that have come out of it. I love the fact that we're looking and scrutinizing these space agencies for the first time, and all I do know is that it's not what they've told me it is. So, and they're lying their asses off.
They're lying their asses off.
I love the stuff that's come out of the Mandela effect,
Yep.
It's not scaring me. What I'm noticing, though, which perhaps does bother me a little bit, is the fear that's going on in the Christian community is getting amped up more and more and more when it comes to the Bible changes. Because what I was seeing was Christians doing ranting kind of, they're messing with our Bible. And then I was seeing it's all Satan. And then I was seeing, now what I'm seeing is they won't even do a video without doing a prayer first. And it's coming from a place of fear.
Yeah.
And that's concerning me. But, and the schism, the division that's happening just within that community itself.
Yeah.
Because there's still the deniers and saying, well, if you're seeing it, then you're Satan.
But that's what I'm saying, and this is what I was seeing starting to develop with the whole trees, mountains, silicone video, is a schism again, where people go to an extreme. You're absolutely right. I love when people put together a video like this, and this guy's probably done 100 hours worth of research, condensed it down into a 45-minute video. And we have the ability to watch the 45-minute video, get all those hundreds of hours of research shortened down into a concise piece that we can look at. But yeah, it's the hyper reactions that I think people have to guard against. We're watching, everything gets co-opted, right? And it's like any opportunity, it seems like every piece of these types of thing that comes out gets co-opted. And by that I mean the fact of it is then somehow used to divide, somehow used to go to extremes without going back to the questions. It's the same thing with the Mandela effect, with the what the fuck effect, as I'm going to now start calling it. We can live every day looking continuously to find another one. Oh, look, there's another brand name that's changed. Oh my God, it's another brand. Oh, this TV show. Oh my God, they changed. You can go to that extreme, or you can just take the information in as it comes by. The Bible changes for me because of my own upbringing of reading the Bible every day. I find it fascinating because I do know my Bible. So I know unicorns were not in the fucking Bible, because I would have used that against my dad, let me tell you, the minister. I would have used it against him. But you don't get obsessed. That's the way we have to guard against, is that obsessive. And there's this thing that it seems like every piece of these comes out, there is a push to co-opt it into some obsessive divisionary argument. And it's like, you're either flat earth or you're sphere earth, and there's just no in between. There's just no in between. That's it. That's your only two choices you have. And you've got Mandela effect. It's the same thing. It's happening.
Either it's changed or it hasn't.
What was that, love?
Yeah, either it's changed or it hasn't.
Or it hasn't.
You won't acknowledge that has for somebody else, perhaps.
The trees were silicone or they weren't. That's it. There's no. It's all black and white. Everything is divided. It's like, so we've got to kind of maintain that equilibrium on these things.
I'm actually going to have to probably stop this a little bit early, because simply it's so cold and people are sleeping not too far away from me. So, but I want to just close on one thing, if that's okay.
Yeah.
And this is dipping into another very controversial, divided topic, but
of course we're at the end of the show.
The free energy movement.
Ah, yes.
So the Keshe Foundation. Now, Dee and I have been very critical of Keshe in the past.
Yep.
Not so much for the technology, because we didn't really look into it so much. More about Keshe himself, and some of the statements that he's made, and what have you. But we do have a group of people that we're both connected to, who we know are very intelligent people, who are very genuine people, and they've been following
personally no. Yeah.
That we trust completely, and they could smell a scam if there was one, and they've been working with this technology now for at least a year, if not longer. And
longer in some cases.
And it's as far as I can tell, this seems to be the real deal. I've played with one of the pens and I've had results. This really could well be free energy. It's out there. The blueprints are there. It's being open sourced. There is a production facility that is manufacturing whatever Keshe puts out officially. But for those who don't want to bother learning how to use one, build one or anything like that, you can just buy them. But all the plans are open sourced. There are people all around the world in these Keshe groups who are working together, teaching people, manufacturing.
Yep.
This is a game changer, guys. If this is everything it's being cracked up to be, which it looks like it is so far, this really is a game changer, because the generators are out, and they apparently just once you've built one or bought one, you plug it in and it just runs your house.
Yeah. 5 kilowatt energy output, and they can be hooked up in series. So you can build 2 of them and hook it up and have 10 kilowatt perpetual.
Well, he actually also said that they can ramp those things up to like 20 or 30.
Yeah, well, this is the whole thing. They can be run in series. They can be upscaled to any size. But right now they're doing this. It's a 5 kilowatt per hour. 5 kilowatt per hour, I think. I'm not sure, but it is 5 kilowatts, and it is self-contained. This isn't running where you have to plug it into the grid. It's a self-contained. They've just released the blueprints, so anyone can take the blueprints and build it themselves. Nick and I are insanely busy at the moment, but we are, once we get to out of this insane high tourist season time, we will be looking heavily into it. And like I said, we've got a whole team behind us who are just phenomenal people who have done all the work, and are doing amazing stuff. They've taken the various blueprints that have already been out and run with it and built their own pieces and used their own instincts to build pretty incredible things and had amazing results. So we are watching, Lisa and I are watching this very, very closely. And whereas we don't have the time to follow tens of hours a week of workshops, we do have people who are keeping us on top of all the things that are coming out. I do know, and I'm just going to put this out there because a question was asked earlier on, although I didn't read it out. It was said, okay, so you do, we've talked about this before, a couple months ago at least, about the Sterling Allen stuff. Sterling Allen ran probably one of the biggest and first free energy websites called PestWiki. He was arrested a few months back for pedophilia, and Kesh is one of the people who apparently was involved in the testimonies to the FBI, apparently. Everything that Kesh had said, and I got into huge arguments, huge arguments, back when it first came out, which had been like June 2015, when he made allegations against Sterling Allen. I said, well, that I don't, allegations are one thing, there needs to be proof. I don't run with allegations, there has to be proof. And everything that he said basically has come to pass. This guy was arrested, he was charged with pedophilia, his computers were all taken away, and apparently he was part of a vast network. Kesh has just come out again, apparently last week or in the last few days, said that there is a hard drive with a terabyte of information about a massive global group of pedophiles who are all working, all linked together in some way, shape, or form, and that information is about to become public.
It's also been handed to all the agencies, all the alphabet agencies.
All the agencies have it, et cetera, as well. Now, the reason I'm bringing it up is because a certain person, and I'm not going to get into the names, let's just say a certain person wrote an article outing himself for having been involved with one of these pedophile groups. And what I was told, or what was said, sorry?
Fox, the timeline of events that we know in regards to that was that Keshi put it out through a group that Sterling was being investigated.
Yeah.
And the investigation went on for 18 months, I think.
Less than that, but a long time. Long time.
And at the end of that, Sterling went public on his own website, and was in the throes of actually making the moves to leave the country and go to
Russia, I believe.
Somewhere
like that, like Russia.
And they caught him just as he was about to leave. That was the story that we got on that one. And yes, it looks like there are some people who may be either in the process of or about to out themselves on their websites in order to preempt perhaps
this announcement
being mentioned in some of these documents.
That's my supposition. What this one person in particular who just outed himself as having been involved in one of these groups in the past, where he really does try to twist it that he's the victim in all this, even though he was the PR person. Yeah. It felt to me like a preemptive. I'm going to get my story out there first and try and get the sympathy vote. Oh, poor you. You were caught up in a cult and, you didn't know what you were doing, et cetera, et cetera.
Although he was also kind of blackmailed.
And he was
come
blackmailed.
clean.
The reason he came out was because he was blackmailed. He was told, you will go public or we will go public for you. I have a feeling there could be a few more of these. There could be a lot more of these coming out as threats are being made. Anyone who has been involved, I don't know. I don't believe in coincidence. So Cache talking about a 1 terabyte hard drive full of all this information about pedophile rings and someone coming out within days talking about his own experience. I don't believe in coincidence. So,
who are you talking about, Maria? I think the Queen of England.
oh, the Queen Lizard.
Gotcha. The Queen Lizard. Well, their own website, didn't they make an announcement about that?
I don't
Very
know.
briefly,
I didn't actually see it, but what? Okay, James, I need a link to that because I don't believe that. I gotta have a hardcore link on that one. James is like, yes, I'll get it. I just said Turkey came out that they are changing their laws to allow sex with children under 15 now. I need a link.
Well, I think this is the reason why this particular outing has infuriated people. It's because this is about child abuse. It's not that's why. It's that simple. It's just it hits that nerve, and you don't hit that nerve. You don't go there.
Yeah, there's just yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know what the cult, the Children of God cult is, it's fucking wow. So.
No,
I'm sorry. What? Really? We actually have more friends than just John Carl. Yeah. People all over.
No, there's quite a few.
Who are working with this stuff. So, okay, go away, fly, seriously.
All right, I am going to have to go though. So, I'm sorry to cut it short.
Before she turns into a human popsicle.
Yeah, it's kind of frozen. Yeah, Bosie's not JC or JK.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. And we will see you next week, probably at the same time. I think we've got one more week at this time slot. Is that right?
Hold on, let me pull up my calendar. It's going to be for the rest of the month of August, guys. Until I get into the proper flat, two more shows because today's the 16th. There's the 23rd and the 30th. Yeah, guys, there's nothing I can do about it. I have very sketchy internet that is costing me a fortune at the moment because it is stick internet that they sell to tourists. Until we get into our set flat, which is beginning of September, I don't have real internet. All I have is this stick, and I've already spent like $130 on internet in 3 weeks, just topping it up. So that's why I can't do videos. You're all sending me videos, and I love you for sending them to me, but I can't actually watch them because I don't have the bandwidth. But yeah, until we get into the new flat, I just can't do it any other way but to do it at this time of day. No, my PayPal does not work, Connie. Unfortunately. I have a friend's PayPal address that I'm using at the moment because I still can't get my PayPal sorted out. Because they're fucktards.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I will talk to you maybe before next week.
We'll try. I want to hear more
yes,
about
I'm going.
seminar. So one day when you and Ben and sit down, I want to talk.
Yeah. We will be working on that. But he's a busy boy too. So.
Yeah. Okay, darlings, it was awesome seeing you all. We'll talk to
Good
you.
night. Good morning. Good afternoon. Whatever it is for you.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.